The stars above Earth twinkled silently, as if hiding secrets they had seen for eons. Deep in the cold emptiness of space, a massive alien fleet drifted, its engines whispering through the void. They called themselves the ZYRTH, a species known across the galaxy for their iron rule and unmatched power. Planets surrendered at their sight, empires fell without a fight, and civilizations vanished like shadows at sunset. But Earth was different. The ZYRTH had watched from afar, observing the strange blue planet with curiosity and growing impatience. Its humans were primitive by their standards, still struggling with war, pollution, and disease. Yet, something made the ZYRTH uneasy. Something that they could not see but they could sense. Commander Vark, the leader of the fleet, stood on the bridge of the flagship Oblivion. His eyes, sharp and glinting like polished steel, scanned the holographic map of the planet below. "The humans are weak," he said, his voice cold and controlled. "Their armies are nothing. Their weapons are toys. We should strike tomorrow." But his second-in-command, Lyra, shook her head. "Commander, sensors pick up unusual energy signatures. They are small, but highly organized. It is strange. I cannot explain it." Vark frowned. He hated uncertainty. Strange or not, they are still just humans. Nothing they can do will stop us. Prepare the invasion. I want Earth under our control before the next rotation of its sun. Meanwhile on Earth, life continued as usual, or so it seemed. In New York, Sarah Lane, a young astrophysicist, stared at her monitors in the lab. She had been tracking strange signals from deep space, signals that pulsed with patterns she could barely comprehend. Her colleague, Raj, leaned over her shoulder. "Do you really think it's them?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Who else could it be?" Sarah whispered, eyes glued to the data. "Whatever it is, it's not just random noise. It's intelligent. Someone, or something, is watching us." At that moment, the sky above them flickered. Not like lightning, but a strange shimmer, a ripple of light that made the air feel heavier. People outside looked up, shielding their eyes, murmuring in confusion. Sarah's heart pounded. The sensors in the lab went wild, lights flashing red, alarms buzzing. "They're here," she said softly, more to herself than to Raj. Back on the Oblivion, Vark's crew were preparing. Ships detached silently from the main fleet, moving in perfect formation toward the planet's atmosphere. Vark stood again at the viewport, watching Earth grow larger, its oceans glinting in the sun, its cities tiny, fragile, like toys in the hands of giants. He felt no fear, only anticipation. But even as he planned, a quiet ripple of unease traveled through him. The energy signatures Lyra had detected were increasing, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost alive. "Commander," Lyra said, pointing at the display, "they are not hiding. They are waiting." "Waiting for what?" Vark snapped. He hated delays, hated mysteries. "I do not wait. I conquer." Lyra said nothing. She only watched the signals grow stronger. Then, suddenly, the communication channels went silent. The fleet systems flickered as if touched by a ghost. "What is happening?" Vark demanded, fury rising. A voice, deep and unfamiliar, echoed through the ship. It was neither human nor Zuarj. It was something else, something that made the hairs on his arms stand. "Earth is not yours to take," the voice said. Simple. Direct. And yet, the words carried weight, power, and a warning that seemed older than time. The crew froze. The voice continued, but now it came from every direction, every screen, every speaker. "You do not know what lies beneath. You do not know what you face. Leave, or suffer the consequences." Vark's hands clenched into fists. Rage burned in his chest. "Liar! Weaklings! We will crush them." But the lights flickered again. A strange energy field surrounded the fleet, pulsing with force. Vark's ship trembled as if something enormous had gripped it. He barked orders, but nothing worked. The fleet, the most feared in the galaxy, was stalled. Back on Earth, Sarah and Raj stared in disbelief as their monitors displayed shapes moving in impossible patterns, defying physics. The signals had become physical, visible, and terrifying. They are controlling it, Raj whispered, his voice breaking. Sarah shook her head. No. They're protecting it. Something is protecting us. Somewhere deep in the forest, unknown to anyone, lights moved with purpose, not aggressive but vigilant. Humanity had secrets buried in plain sight, secrets that even the ZYRTH, with all their technology and power, could not predict. And as the first ZYRTH ship faltered, trembling under forces they could not understand, Commander Vark realized for the first time that conquering Earth would not be simple. Humanity had a power, hidden and ancient, waiting to awaken. And the war for Earth had only just begun. The ZYRTH fleet hovered above Earth, but something had changed. Ships that once moved with the confidence of conquerors now shivered under invisible pressure. Commander Vark paced the bridge of the Oblivion, his usual arrogance replaced with a rare edge of worry. Every sensor and scanner flared alarms, yet nothing seemed tangible, nothing they could touch, nothing they could shoot. Lyra, report. Vark barked, fists clenched. The energy field, it's unlike anything we have ever encountered, Lyra said, her voice steady but tense. It moves, shifts, and adapts. Weapons cannot penetrate it. Shields are ineffective. It's alive, in a way. Vark's jaw tightened. He had never liked the idea of being outmatched. Alive, he repeated, his voice low, dangerous. It's just humans. How can humans create something alive enough to stop us? Commander, it is not humans, Lyra said carefully. Not entirely. The signals from below, they are ancient. Something far older than Earth itself. And yet, it seems tied to humanity. Vark stared, incredulous. The thought gnawed at him. The ZYRTH were supposed to be unstoppable. Planets fell before them. Civilizations trembled at their name. Yet here, on a small blue planet, the rules of power did not apply. On Earth, Sarah Lane and Raj were running from one monitor to another in their lab, the flickering screens showing movements and shapes no one could explain. It's responding, Sarah whispered. When the ships move, it moves. When they fire, it reacts. Raj swallowed hard. It's like Earth itself is alive. But how? I don't know, Sarah admitted. But it's protecting us, I think. I think humanity has something we never knew. Outside the lab, people on the streets looked up at the sky. Ships that should have burned cities to ash now hovered as if frozen by some unseen hand. Panic began to spread, but no one could explain why the expected destruction had not come. Meanwhile, the ZYRTH struggled. Fighter craft wavered in the air as if invisible fingers pushed against them. The flagship Oblivion groaned under stresses its engineers could not measure. Vark slammed his fists against the railing, rage and fear battling inside him. This is impossible, he muttered. We are the ZYRTH. Nothing can stop us. But Lyra remained calm, studying the strange data flowing across the displays. Perhaps you are wrong, Commander. Perhaps humans are not what they appear to be. They might have defenses we cannot see. Defenses built into the very planet. Vark's face darkened. Enough speculation. I want a strike force. Tear through the atmosphere. Find whatever it is and destroy it. As he gave the orders, a ripple of light surged from Earth. It was faint at first, like a breeze brushing against steel, but quickly grew into something undeniable. Energy coiled around the ships like invisible chains. Fighters spun helplessly in the void, engines screaming. Systems overloaded. Vark roared, giving commands that did nothing. The ZYRTH's most advanced weapons fizzled and died. The humans below, unaware of the technical details, watched in awe as ships faltered above. But Sarah and Raj were not awed, they were terrified. They had glimpsed the force protecting their planet, but they had no idea of its scale or power. Sarah, What if we can't control it? Raj asked, voice shaking. Sarah shook her head. I think it's not about us controlling it. It's about the planet itself. Something ancient is waking, and it knows we are here. Meanwhile, hidden deep underground, beneath deserts, mountains, and oceans, dormant machines stirred. Old artifacts, relics of a civilization long gone, connected to the energy above. They hummed, powered by forces humans had only begun to understand. Humanity's secret was not in their weapons, their numbers, or their technology, but in their inheritance. On the Oblivion, panic spread. Officers shouted orders, engineers worked frantically, but nothing helped. The ZYRTH had underestimated humans. Or rather, they had underestimated what humans were connected to. Vark clenched his teeth. His pride burned hotter than any fear. Lyra, if we cannot break them, then we adapt. We will find a way. We always do. Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. Not this time, Commander. Not against this force. Below, in New York, the sky shimmered with energy, pulsing rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Sarah and Raj could feel it through the ground, through the air, through their very bones. The ZYRTH's ships were still above, frozen in midair, powerless against something they could not comprehend. And then a new sound reached Sarah's ears, a sound not of machines, not of humans, not even of the ZYRTH. It was a deep, resonating hum, growing louder, stronger. The energy above responded, twisting, shifting, forming shapes in the sky, as if communicating. Raj, do you hear it? Sarah asked. Raj nodded, unable to speak. His eyes were wide. It's alive. It's talking. Somewhere deep in space, Commander Vark felt it too. Not through sight or sound, but in his bones, in his mind. A message, clear and simple. You are not welcome here. And as the fleet trembled, the truth became undeniable. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not primitive. Humanity was connected to something older, something powerful, something that would not let them fall. And the war for Earth had truly begun. The ZYRTH fleet hovered above Earth, frozen in a struggle they did not understand. Every ship, every engine, every weapon had been stopped by an invisible force. Commander Vark's pride screamed for retaliation, but the reality of their helplessness gnawed at him. This was not a battle he could fight with brute strength alone. On Earth, Sarah and Raj stepped outside the lab, feeling the strange vibrations under their feet. The air shimmered, as if reality itself had become liquid. People screamed and pointed at the sky, but no one dared approach the strange phenomena. The energy above the planet moved like a living creature, intelligent and watchful. They're not attacking us, Sarah said, squinting at the ships. They're observing. They're testing. Raj shook his head. Testing. Or warning. Below the surface, hidden deep in caves and underground bunkers, ancient machines stirred. They had slept for millennia, powered by forces humans could not even imagine. Now, their systems activated, linked to Earth's energy field, responding to the presence of the ZYRTH fleet. Humanity's secret was not technology, not armies, not even ingenuity, it was this connection. Something older than the ZYRTH. Something that had watched over Earth long before humans walked the planet. In the skies, the ZYRTH scrambled. Fighter craft spun helplessly, engines screaming as if caught in invisible nets. Weapons malfunctioned. Shields flickered, then failed. Vark barked orders, but every command was ignored by reality itself. He could not hit, could not move, could not conquer. Lyra studied the displays, her mind racing. Commander, they are not just defending. They are communicating. The patterns of energy, they are sending messages. I cannot read them fully, but they are intelligent, deliberate. And they respond to humans. Vark's fists clenched. Respond to humans? Impossible. Humans are weak, fragile. They have nothing to command forces like these. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Not nothing, Commander. They have potential. Something latent, something connected. You cannot destroy it because you do not understand it. Meanwhile, Sarah and Raj observed the skies. The energy above formed shapes, symbols, and movements that seemed to convey meaning. Sarah touched a sensor pad in the lab. The readings spiked, and a series of images flashed across the screen. Visions of humans long ago, civilizations rising and falling, all protected by the same force. It's like a guardian, Sarah whispered. Something has been watching over humanity for centuries, maybe longer. And now, it knows we're in danger. Raj swallowed hard. Do you think it can fight them? Sarah hesitated. I think it already is. The ZYRTH tried again. A wave of laser fire shot toward the planet. But as soon as the beams pierced the atmosphere, they bent, twisted, and shattered, dissipating harmlessly into the sky. Vark watched in disbelief. Impossible. Our weapons, nothing works. Lyra said nothing. She only watched the patterns of energy, noticing how they reacted to every movement of the fleet. Commander, she said finally, this is not just about defense. They are preparing for something. Vark's anger boiled over. Enough talk. I will destroy them. I am the commander of the ZYRTH. I will not be defeated by humans. At that moment, a new force emerged from Earth's energy field. It pulsed outward, not aggressive, but immense. The ZYRTH ships were thrown back, engines screaming, systems failing. The fleet shuddered under the pressure, unable to escape the invisible grip. And then, something extraordinary happened. The energy field focused on the humans below, highlighting Sarah, Raj, and others around the planet who had unknowingly interacted with the ancient systems. The field seemed to recognize them, granting them clarity, insight, understanding. Sarah felt it first, a surge of awareness, like the planet itself was speaking inside her mind. She could sense the patterns, the flow of energy, the purpose behind it. Raj, I can feel it. It's showing me how to help, how to guide it. Raj looked at her, eyes wide. Guide it. Can we control it? I don't know, Sarah admitted, but determination burned in her chest. But we have to try. Earth depends on us. Above, Vark realized the truth too late. Humans were not helpless. Their connection to the planet's energy, their ancient guardians, made them stronger than the ZYRTH had ever imagined. And that strength was awakening now, ready to defend the planet in ways that no technology could match. The fleet was faltering. Commander Vark's fury turned to fear as he realized that this was not a conventional battle. This was a force of nature, ancient, intelligent, and aligned with humans. And the ZYRTH were the intruders. Somewhere deep underground, old machines activated fully, sending pulses into the planet's core. Energy surged outward, mingling with the ancient field above. The planet was alive, aware, and ready to fight. And humanity, unaware of their true heritage until now, stood at the center of it all, holding the key to a power that could repel the most feared conquerors in the galaxy. Commander Vark clenched his teeth, staring at the impossible sight. Humans are not what we thought. They are something else entirely. And as Earth's guardians and humanity itself prepared to awaken fully, the war for survival, the war for the planet, had only just begun. The sky above Earth glowed with a strange, pulsing light. The ZYRTH fleet hung frozen, their ships trembling under invisible pressure, while below, the humans who had unknowingly touched the planet's ancient energy began to feel a new power stirring inside them. Sarah's heart pounded. The strange hum in her mind had grown louder, clearer, as if the planet itself was speaking. She could sense patterns in the energy above, connections she had never seen before. Raj stood beside her, shaking but determined, trying to understand the pulses of power that surged through the air. Sarah, what do we do? Raj asked, voice trembling. We have to guide it, Sarah said. Her fingers hovered over the lab's control panels. I don't fully understand it yet, but it's responding to us. It's waiting for direction. Outside, the streets were filled with a tense mixture of fear and awe. The ZYRTH fleet hovered silently, their most advanced weapons useless against the invisible force. Soldiers on the ships shouted orders, but engines refused to respond, shields flickered and failed. Commander Vark's fury was palpable, but even he could feel the growing power beneath him. "Lyra, we cannot break through," Vark yelled, fists slamming against the bridge railing. "Nothing works. The humans, they are stronger than we expected." Lyra studied the displays carefully. "Commander, it is not just strength. It's coordination with the planet. Humans are linked to something ancient, something intelligent. They can guide it, if they choose." Vark's eyes narrowed, a dangerous mix of anger and disbelief. "Guide it? Impossible. Humans are primitive, weak. They cannot control a force like this." But the planet had begun to answer. Pulses of energy surged upward, forming translucent patterns in the sky, responding to Sarah and the others who were aware of the connection. Slowly, intentionally, the energy began to take shape, forming barriers around major cities, redirecting attacks, neutralizing the ZYRTH ships without harming humans below. "Look!" Sarah shouted, pointing at the sky. "It's forming shields." Raj's jaw dropped. "Shields? Against them?" "Yes," Sarah said, voice trembling with excitement and fear. "And not just shields. I think it can push them back, too." At that moment, a ZYRTH fighter tried to break through the invisible barrier. Its engines flared violently, and then it was hurled backward as if caught in a storm. Another ship followed, spinning helplessly in the sky before falling into the ocean below. The ZYRTH fleet roared in frustration, unable to comprehend the force they were facing. Vark's rage turned to desperation. "Deploy the shock units. Burn the planet's surface if we must." Lyra hesitated, watching the energy patterns respond instantly to the humans. "Commander, it will only grow stronger. Every attack strengthens the link. You will destroy yourselves before the humans are harmed." Vark growled, ignoring her. "I do not care. I will not fail." Meanwhile, Sarah and Raj began experimenting, guided by the subtle nudges of the planet's energy. With every movement, every thought, the patterns in the sky shifted. Energy barriers around cities became stronger, swirling like protective storms. Invisible waves pushed against the ZYRTH ships, forcing them to retreat. "Sarah, it's listening to us," Raj said, awe in his voice. We're controlling it, in a way." "Yes," Sarah said, focusing. "We are not alone. The planet is alive, and it trusts us. It knows we want to protect, not destroy." In the oblivion, Vark's frustration was reaching a breaking point. His fleet was in chaos. Systems failed, ships tumbled helplessly, and communication with the outer squadrons was lost. For the first time in his life, he felt powerless. "Commander," Lyra said cautiously, "we underestimated them. They are not like any other species we have conquered. We cannot win by force alone. Retreat may be our only option." Vark's face twisted in anger. "Retreat? Never. We will break them. Somehow." But even as he spoke, the energy above intensified. It moved with a rhythm that was not random. Waves of force struck the fleet, bending ships, twisting metal, and disabling engines. The humans below, guided by the planet, were becoming a force the ZYRTH could not challenge. And then, the unimaginable happened. Sarah felt a surge of clarity, a vision of the past. Humans had not always been alone on Earth. Ancient guardians had watched over them, leaving behind systems that could awaken in times of great danger. The ZYRTH did not know this, but humanity's secret was now coming alive. "Raj," Sarah whispered, eyes wide, "we're not just protecting Earth. We're awakening it. Together." Above them, the fleet groaned under pressure. The ZYRTH had never faced an enemy like this. Not soldiers, not weapons, not technology, but a planet itself, guided by the intelligence of its people. And for the first time, humanity was beginning to understand the full extent of its legacy. Commander Vark's fury boiled, but deep inside, a flicker of fear emerged. This battle was unlike any he had fought before, and the outcome was no longer certain. On Earth, the humans stood, united unknowingly, channeling a force far older than themselves. The skies shimmered with power, and the invisible war between the ZYRTH and Earth had begun in earnest. And as the first waves of energy struck the ZYRTH ships, Sarah knew one thing for certain: Earth would not surrender. The skies above Earth were alive. Pulses of energy swirled like storms, glowing with a light that defied explanation. The ZYRTH fleet, once the terror of the galaxy, now quivered under a force they could neither see nor touch. Ships spun helplessly, engines screamed, and weapons failed again and again. Commander Vark slammed his fists against the railing of the Oblivion. His pride, once unshakable, now teetered on the edge of panic. "We've underestimated them," he growled, voice shaking with rage. "This is impossible." Lyra stepped beside him, calm despite the chaos. "Commander, they are not just defending themselves. The humans are awakening something ancient. The planet itself is responding to them. And with every attack we launch, it grows stronger." Vark's eyes burned with fury. "Then we will destroy it anyway. I will not fail." Below, on Earth, Sarah and Raj were no longer just observers. They were participants. The energy surging through the planet responded to their thoughts and movements. At first, it had been subtle, protective. Now, it was offensive. Invisible waves pushed against the ZYRTH ships, bending metal and throwing vessels out of formation. "Sarah, look!" Raj shouted, pointing at a massive ZYRTH destroyer spinning helplessly. "It's falling." "Yes," Sarah said, her voice steady but fierce. "And we can do more. We have to. Earth depends on it." The energy field surged higher, forming concentrated beams of power that struck the ZYRTH fleet with precision. Ships erupted in flashes of light, metal twisting and breaking. The fleet's cohesion crumbled under the relentless force of a planet defending itself, guided by humans who were learning their role in its power. Vark roared in frustration. "How is this possible? They are just humans. They cannot control forces like these." Lyra's voice was calm, but tinged with awe. "It's not just humans, Commander. They are connected. They have awakened something older than your fleet, older than your empire. You cannot fight this with weapons." As the battle intensified, strange things began to happen on Earth itself. Forests shimmered with energy, rivers glowed faintly under the light of the auroras that had appeared unexpectedly, and mountains seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the planet. People who had unknowingly touched the energy began to feel it, sensing the power that could defend them, guide them, and strike fear into invaders. Sarah felt it most strongly. The planet spoke through her mind, guiding her hands, showing her patterns of energy, revealing weaknesses in the ZYRTH fleet. She could feel how the ancient systems beneath the Earth's surface connected every human with the planet's power. "Raj, I think we can push them back," she said, her voice firm. Raj's eyes widened. "You mean, actually fight them off?" "Yes," Sarah said. "And not just fight. We can force them to retreat." In the Oblivion, Vark realized something terrifying. His fleet, the most feared in the galaxy, was failing not because of a stronger enemy, but because the enemy was something he could not comprehend. A planet, alive and intelligent, had chosen humans as its defenders. Every strike, every movement, every plan he had was countered before he could act. Lyra placed a hand on his arm. "Commander, retreat is our only option. If we continue, the fleet will be destroyed. We face a force we cannot defeat." Vark's pride battled with fear. He had never faced defeat. And yet, the signs were undeniable. Ships fell from the sky, engines failed, and crews panicked. Humanity's connection to the planet was more than just protection. It was offense, strategy, and instinct combined. Above, the energy surged again. Beams of light lashed out, striking the flagship and several destroyers. Explosions erupted, and the ZYRTH screamed in fury as chaos consumed their once pristine formation. "Sarah, it's working," Raj whispered, awe in his voice. "We're actually pushing them back." "Yes," Sarah said. "And the more we believe in it, the stronger it becomes. The planet is listening to us, responding to our will." In the sky, the ZYRTH realized their most powerful weapons were useless. Their fear grew as they witnessed humans, fragile by all previous standards, directing the planet's might with courage and determination. Commander Vark's fury twisted into desperation, and finally, into fear. Somewhere deep underground, ancient systems that had slept for millennia hummed with renewed energy. The planet itself had awakened fully, responding to the humans' will. And for the first time, the ZYRTH understood the truth: humans were not merely prey. They were partners with a power far older and far stronger than any invader in the galaxy. And as the first wave of ships exploded, sent spiraling out of the atmosphere, Sarah realized something profound. Humanity was not weak, humanity was never meant to surrender, and the real battle for Earth had only just begun. The sky above Earth was a battlefield unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Energy streaked across the heavens, forming shields, barriers, and beams of crushing force. The ZYRTH fleet, once the masters of conquest, now staggered under a storm they could not fight. Sarah stood at the heart of the energy in New York, her mind clear, her senses alive with the planet's pulse. She could feel every wave, every movement, every heartbeat of the Earth itself. Raj stood beside her, shaking but resolute. "We've done it," Raj whispered, awe in his voice. "We're controlling it, really controlling it." Sarah nodded. "Not just us," she said, eyes scanning the sky. "Everyone. The planet is responding to all of us. We are connected." From space, the ZYRTH watched helplessly as their most powerful ships faltered. Engines screamed, shields collapsed, and weapon systems overloaded. Commander Vark banged his fists against the railing of the Oblivion, rage and fear intertwining in a dangerous mix. "Lyra," he shouted. "Find a way to stop them. Anything. I will not be defeated by humans." Lyra's face was pale but determined. "Commander, we cannot fight this. Their power is not ours to match. It is not strength alone. It is the planet and humanity. They are one. You cannot separate them." Vark's jaw tightened. "Then we adapt. We always adapt." But even as he spoke, the planet reacted. Pulses of energy formed concentrated beams, striking ZYRTH destroyers and fighters with precision. Ships tumbled out of formation, engines exploded, and communication between vessels broke down. The fleet's organization collapsed under the relentless, intelligent force of Earth defending itself. Sarah lifted her hands, directing the energy with clarity. She had never felt such power, yet it was not hers alone. It belonged to the planet, to humanity, to every life on Earth. She felt the ancient systems stirring beneath her, awakening fully, joining her will with the planet's own. "Raj," she said, voice steady, "we can push them completely out of the atmosphere. But we have to focus. Every thought, every command must be clear." Raj nodded, trying to center himself. He felt the hum of the energy in his chest, the pulse of the Earth beneath his feet, the connection with every person who had touched the ancient power. Together, they were a force no weapon could match. Above, the ZYRTH tried again, desperate. Lasers, missiles, shockwaves, everything they had deployed before, now fell uselessly. The energy bent, absorbed, or redirected each attack, leaving ships spinning helplessly. Vark realized with horror that his fleet, the most feared in the galaxy, was on the brink of annihilation. "Commander, we are losing control," one officer shouted. Vark's eyes blazed. "No. We are not defeated. We will." Before he could finish, a massive beam of concentrated energy surged from the planet, striking the flagship. The Oblivion shuddered violently, alarms blaring, systems failing. Vark staggered, disbelief and fear twisting his features. The humans below watched, feeling the connection deepen. The planet's energy was no longer defensive, it was coordinated, intelligent, and powerful beyond imagination. Forests, rivers, mountains, even the oceans joined in the battle, channeling the force through the humans who had awakened their legacy. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the full scope of the power. The energy was alive, ancient, and patient, but it also carried purpose. It wanted to protect, to defend, to show the ZYRTH that Earth was not theirs to take. Raj, together, she said. We can drive them back completely. Raj nodded, determination overcoming fear. He focused, sending his thoughts through the pulse of the planet, through the energy, through the humans connected to it. The patterns in the sky responded instantly, converging into massive, coordinated strikes. ZYRTH ships exploded, tumbled, and were hurled into space like toys. Communication systems failed, engines collapsed, and entire squadrons disappeared in bursts of light. Vark's rage turned to terror. His fleet was crumbling, and nothing he could do would stop it. On Earth, people watched the skies with wonder and fear. Some had never believed in the power beneath their feet, but now, its force was undeniable. Humanity had awakened an ancient protector, and it had chosen them as its champions. Commander Vark, for the first time, realized the truth. Humans were not weak. They were not primitive. They were connected to a power older and stronger than any civilization he had ever faced. And the realization burned hotter than any weapon. As the last ZYRTH ships faltered and began retreating, Sarah and Raj stood together, feeling the energy calm, the planet's pulse steady once more. Humanity had survived. Humanity had won. But even in victory, Sarah knew this was only the beginning. The ZYRTH would return, stronger, more cunning. And the planet's guardians would need guidance, courage, and wisdom to protect Earth in the battles yet to come. And for the first time, humanity truly understood its legacy and its responsibility. The remnants of the ZYRTH fleet limped away from Earth, battered and broken. The once proud ships, feared across countless star systems, were now silhouettes against the glowing atmosphere, retreating from a force they had underestimated, a planet alive, and the humans who had awakened its power. On Earth, the skies slowly dimmed, the pulsing energy calming to a gentle hum. Cities were intact, forests shimmered faintly, and the oceans reflected the last streaks of energy that had surged during the battle. Sarah and Raj stood together on a rooftop, feeling the heartbeat of the planet beneath them, steady and strong. "It's over," Raj whispered, awe still in his voice. "Not over," Sarah replied softly. "Just paused. The ZYRTH will remember this. They will come back, and next time, we have to be ready." The planet's energy pulsed again, gently now, like a sigh of relief. Sarah could feel it speaking, not in words, but in a deep, resonating sense of understanding. "You are ready." In that moment, the truth became clear. Humanity's secret was not just the ancient systems buried beneath the Earth. It was not simply the energy itself. It was the connection between humans, between the planet, and the legacy left by guardians long ago. Humans were chosen not because of their strength, but because of their courage, their creativity, and their will to protect life itself. Raj looked at her, realization dawning. All this time, we were never just people. We were partners. "Yes," Sarah said. "And now we know. We have to be careful, though. The universe is vast, and there are others who will test us. But Earth has its defenders, and we are part of them." Deep beneath the surface, hidden from human eyes, ancient machines hummed softly, their energy now calm but alive. Forests, rivers, mountains, all had participated in the defense, their power guided by the humans who had awakened the planet. It was a legacy millions of years in the making, a gift and a responsibility that humanity had finally embraced. High above, the ZYRTH fleet scattered. Commander Vark, once the embodiment of conquest and pride, stared at the tiny blue planet, fear and disbelief twisting his features. He had underestimated humans. He had underestimated Earth itself. "They are Something else, he muttered, voice low. Stronger than we imagined. Smarter than we expected. And connected to powers we cannot touch. Lyra, standing beside him, said quietly, "It is more than that, Commander. They are not just defending themselves. They are defending life. That is something even we cannot conquer." Vark turned away, a rare moment of silence overtaking his anger. The ZYRTH had been beaten, not through brute force, not through strategy, but by something they had never considered: the union of life, courage, and an ancient, intelligent planet. Back on Earth, Sarah felt the energy settle fully. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, understanding that humanity had awakened to its destiny. The planet's pulse had calmed, but the bond remained. Humans were not alone, and Earth would never surrender. She looked at Raj, smiling faintly. "We've learned something important. We are stronger than we thought. And we are never alone." Raj nodded. "Earth's secret, it's incredible. But we have to protect it. Always." Across the planet, people felt it, though most did not understand why. A quiet reassurance, a subtle sense of guardianship. Humanity had inherited something greater than themselves, a force that had always been present, waiting for the right moment, the right people, to awaken it. Sarah knew the future would bring challenges. Other civilizations, other invaders, might come. But now, humans had a choice. They had a legacy to protect, a bond to honor, and a planet that would fight with them if needed. And somewhere, deep in the stars, other observers, alien civilizations who had watched Earth from afar, would take note. The humans were not just a species, they were guardians of a planet alive with power, courage, and intelligence. The ZYRTH, scarred and humbled, would not forget. But Earth had sent a message. No force in the galaxy could take this world without a fight it was destined to lose. Sarah and Raj stood together, feeling the connection deepen, the planet's energy flowing through them, steady, alive, and unbroken. The war for Earth had been won. For now. But the knowledge, the legacy, and the guardianship had only begun. The planet's pulse echoed through their minds, a promise and a warning. Humans were no longer passive observers of their world. They were partners, protectors, and stewards of something ancient and powerful. And in that moment, humanity understood its true strength. Not in weapons, not in armies, but in courage, unity, and the bond with the living planet that had chosen them. Earth would never surrender. And the galaxy would never forget.